Good morning, everybody under the stars. Welcome to the show this morning. So, something strange happened yesterday, and almost exactly an hour before it happened in real life at the inauguration, we uploaded this video. It actually uploaded just before Biden took the podium. This video uploaded. Many of you missed this video. And as you can see here, it was 20 hours ago. And we talked all about the new dawn. This was an FBI episode that I had decoded the day before. And I had it scheduled for premiere during the inauguration. I didn't even realize I had scheduled it during the inauguration, but I did. And then an hour after this uploaded, this happened.
And notions of what just isn't always just is. And yet the dawn is hours before we knew it. Somehow we do it. Somehow we've weathered and witnessed a nation for we knew it always.
Let me put this in regular speed. The new dawn is before us.
Just is. And yet the dawn is hours before we knew it. Somehow we do it. Somehow we've weathered and witnessed a nation that isn't broken, but simply unfinished. We, the successors of a country.
Now later she talks about the new dawn blooms as we free it. For there is always light if only we're brave enough to see it. If only we're brave enough to see it.
And a time where a skinny black girl of becoming president. We are far from polished, perfect. We are striving to country committed to all cultures. And so we lift our gazes not to what stands, close the divide. We lay down our arms with harmony for all. Let the globe, if nothing else, we grieved, we grew, that even as we hurt together, victorious, not because we ever again sow division. And fig tree, and no one shall make them afraid. Laid, but in all the bridges, we dare it, because being American too, and how we repair it. We've seen a forest country if it meant delaying democracy. Democracy can be periodically delayed. This truth and this faith we trust, for while we have our eyes on the era of just redemption, we feared it at an hour, but within it we found the power to, while once we asked, how could we possibly prevail? How could catastrophe, what was, but move to what shall be and free? We will not be turned around, or inertia will be the inheritance of the next generation. If we merge mercy with might, legacy, and change, better than the one we were left with.
Now I'm fast forwarding through this, of course, for copyright reasons. I don't know how they feel about inaugurations in terms of copyright, but I'm trying to find the part where she talks about the new dawn blooms as we free it.
Every breath from my bronze-pounded chest, gold-limbed hills of the West, we will rise from the wind-swept northeast of the Midwestern states. We will ever, in every known nook of our nation, and will emerge battered and beautiful when day come blooms as we free it. For they were lame and unafraid. The new dawn blooms out of the shade of flame.
Now I'm going to slow this down because this is very important. What we're dealing with here is the spirit of all of this. This is why God revealed this to us before it happened.
And unafraid, the new dawn blooms as we free it. For there is always light if only we're brave enough to see it.
So there you have it. Now, I don't take any credit for the supernatural miracles that occur on this channel every week. The glory, all of it, goes to the Most High. We'll be doing a full show on this trailer that we uploaded before it happened, tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll do a full show on this because this is very important. This new dawn is Biden's presidency. So let's get into today's show, because as we enter the first few days of the new presidency, we see the beginnings of the undoing of many of Trump's executive orders. Now understand what this is, okay? His strategy here, Biden's strategy here, is to try and distance himself from Trump and to set himself apart. And many of these rollbacks, they're just comical. They serve absolutely no purpose. Just like some of the executive orders to implement some of these policies. Now, why is he doing this? We're going to talk about that today, because this is very, very important. This whole immigration thing is very, very important to understand this. This is a sticking point with the right. But let me explain to you how we're all getting played. Okay, the right, the left. This is why you have to stand outside the right-left paradigm. Because keeping people of a certain faith from coming into this country, that's not the answer. Because here's the thing. All of that is based on a myth. The myth that there are foreigners out there ready, waiting to get on planes to come to America and hurt us. That's a myth. And if anything else, they publicly admit that most of these plots to hurt America came out of long investigations where they basically egged on and drew people into the act by financing them, by, basically, what's the word that I'm looking for? They basically brought them along and tried to basically talk them into doing it, gave them the resources to do it. And then when the person said, okay, I'm ready to push the button, oh, you're busted. The FBI admits that this is what has happened in many of these cases, most of them actually. They call it a sting, but really all it is a grooming process. They're the ones grooming the people that want to hurt America. So how do we fix this? Well, you could easily, instead of just blocking countries from coming in, you could have an extensive pre-screening process. Actually identify the people coming into the country. Actually see that their picture matches who they are. Heck, if you want, use all the resources that you've used for other things that are a waste of resources to track these people when they come in the country. I don't think anybody has a problem with that if they're not doing anything wrong coming into the country from some of these other countries that Trump had banned and blocked. You can do all this before they even board the plane. Make it a 4 or 6 month process before you can even travel to the U.S. from those countries. And then guess what? With all this surveillance we have in the NSA, why don't you use that against those people, not American citizens? You can strengthen the travel visa system and the requirements. So, implementing a ban, just a countrywide ban on a country is just ridiculous. And rolling it back is ridiculous. Because it's all based on the myth of Towerism, we're going to call it. Now, what is this all about? Well, all of this is about stoking the right. This is what they're doing. They're really trying to anger the right. They're trying to anger the right to draw them out so they could be bagged, tagged, and surveilled. They are the real threat to American government. It's been stated under Trump's FBI. Remember the memo? It named Q and other groups as being the top domestic threat, and the white right. So, this is all a scam. This is to really anger people and go, we don't want them coming across our border. So this is what Biden's up to. Now he's also halting the building of the wall. And I'll pin this article in the pinned comment. Let me make sure we're connected first. We're going with this. I didn't get booted off for playing the inauguration. Jeez. So what's going on here? Well, he says he's going to halt the building of the wall. Like, what kind of sense does that make? Absolutely no sense. What, is he going to tear down the wall that Trump already built? See, every time that they do this, they play these political games and they undo things and change things. What happens? Who suffers? The taxpayers. Because they're just wasting our money building and tearing down things. Now, I don't believe in the wall, and I'm going to tell you why. Because the wall, in my opinion, is to keep us in. Just as easily as it keeps them out, it keeps us in. Now, Biden is the first president that I've heard talking about fixing the economic problem in Central America that's forcing them to immigrate here. But here's the thing. We've been made that promise before in different forms, that they were going to go after corruption, but they don't want to, because the entire deep state is all about Central American corruption. Most of those presidents down there are propped up. That's the big white elephant in the room that they're not admitting. That it's because of American policy that these people are coming up here. And so, basically, Biden is being a hypocrite here. Because he's talking about fixing the problem down there, but yet he still allows, and he talks about it in this it's talked about in this article here, what his plans are for immigration reform. He still allows the states to incentivize them to continue to come here. So you can't have it both ways. You can't incentivize people to continue to come here while saying that you're going to stop it by fixing the problem over there. It makes absolutely no sense. And here we are. Americans are still underemployed. We've been decimated by CV-19. All the small businesses are gone. So why would Biden drop this in our lap right now? It's to enrage the right. They're drawing out the patriots. They're drawing out people to come and try to put a stop to this. Let me tell you how to build the perfect wall. And as I tell you this story, this will help you understand that the right and the left are working together and playing us both with these, I guess you call these hot button issues, okay? That they never are able to resolve. They can never resolve this. I'm going to tell you how to build the perfect wall, and it won't cost a dime. And in fact, from day one, it will start to generate its own revenue based on all of the savings. You see, here's the problem. The federal government is letting states dictate their own border security policies. And some of the states are undermining border security. How do they do that? By handing out driver's licenses, by harboring illegals, by providing food and shelter, services, jobs, and the promise of being able to stay with no repercussions. In some instances, like in California, if you're an illegal, you can even find a way to get state scholarships to go to school. Now, this doesn't sound like much to base an attempt at trying to infiltrate another country if you're an illegal, but this is 10 times better than what they came from. If someone told you, hey, on the other side of this border, there's a $1,200 check waiting for you, a driver's license, you could drive around, it's more safe over there, you'd probably want to try to do it too. Because in your country, that $1,200 is probably worth $6,000 or more. Do you see how this works? Nothing will change until the policy of economics changes. Until their dollar is worth the same as ours, nothing will change, and you can't change the entire monetary system and make our dollar worth theirs. It won't happen. So all of this bragging about how the deals that we've made with Mexico and immigration, and and economic plans and all this and trade deals, it's all hogwash, because as long as their currency is devalued, they're going to want to come here because what they make is worth far more. So you fix it by making border security a national security federal issue. States should be forbidden under penalty of law for any of the activities we just talked about. And when the services stop, immigration will come to a grinding halt. Because even harboring an illegal will come with hefty fines. Kind of like how, like they forced us all to wear face masks under threat of fines, losing our jobs and not being able to fly on an airplane. Well, that would be all they'd have to do with immigration. And for those illegals that didn't get the memo and who still tried to cross, they'll just simply be escorted back across the border. You have some border agents down there, and they go and find these people. They can write tickets to people who are harboring illegals and escort them back across the border. And after a while, everybody will get the memo. They'll be like, why are we going to go to America where there's nothing for us there? The reason why illegals come here is because they get services and resources, because they're being pandered to by the left. And each president could end this tomorrow by making this a national security case. Now, I understand this has to go through the Supreme Court, but maybe it doesn't. Maybe this is just national security. There are laws out there that go right around the Supreme Court, like the ability to start a war, for instance. That happens all the time. And that's under national security. But for some reason, we can't make border security a national security issue that does not have to go through the Supreme Court. Now, there's nothing inhumane about this because no harm, no foul. Right? I can tell you for a fact that states like Arizona and Texas would be on board with this. They would be for this kind of policy. And if California doesn't want to comply, then guess what? You get cut off from all federal funding, all federal aid, gone. You're on your own until you stand up for national security. It's pretty simple, you guys. Now, on to other stories. Check in with you guys real quick, and then we'll get on to these other stories. And we'll get into the trailer soon here, but I wanted to cover these stories. Look who they're throwing into our face now. Remember this character? I won't say his name. You guys know who he is. The swamp creature himself. Buddies with the Clintons, who never went to jail. All these people were supposed to get arrested, right? This is how you can tell all this was a scam. So they prayed him out. And what is he doing? He's pontificating about how should we handle Trump? How are we going to dispose of him? He's giving his opinion on this, right? And again, what is the purpose of this? To enrage the right. Who was all over this like a year and a half after pretty much everybody did the whole pizza thing? The QBs, right? They were like, look at what we found. Well, we had already found all that. But this is some of the fuel that they used to talk about the indictments and everything. This guy was public enemy number 1 on the indictment list. Nothing ever happened. Now, here, more mockery. Now, what good does this do? As Trump departs office, reality sets in for the cult. And so they talk about how people are still in denial. And you know what? They actually are. But what good does this do? All this is going to do is continue to draw these people out. Oh, the new update is in 30 days. Trump will take the presidency back. This is what they're saying now. And people are believing it. There's people in comment sections on my recent videos talking about this. Saying, oh, give it 4 more weeks. Crazy. Now, let's look back at what's happened over the last couple months. Because there's something weird happening. How did we get here? And what's going to happen next? These are questions you guys probably have. Well, I put together this trailer. Many of you have seen it already. We're going to break it down. And it's an animation, the RoboCop animation cartoon that came out in the 80s. And also the film Tomorrowland. And what you're going to see next is the rise and fall of the Archer and what he came to do. And how his actions will definitely affect our future well into the Biden presidency. Who is the Archer? The Archer is Apollo. He is the Archer. And we are right now in Tomorrowland. What is Tomorrowland? Total digital domination. It's almost as though we went through a portal. Now I want you to listen and watch this trailer. I'll be pausing it. Let me make sure we're connected first before we get into this. Thanks everybody for showing up. Appears as though we are.
We interrupt our regularly scheduled program for this special bulletin.
So the Archer comes out of a meat truck. And he's basically a vigilante in this 1988 episode of RoboCop.
Well, if it isn't the Blue Knight. Sorry, friend. Haven't got time to chat.
This is Casey Wong. I'm reporting live from downtown Old Detroit where a man calling himself the Archer is passing out free food to the poor and unemployed.
So, of course, Casey Wong is reporting, and he talks about the vigilante Apollo, actually the Archer, which is Apollo. Right here, you can see it. He is the first Archer, and we know that Trump is Apollo. Let's keep watching. And of course, we had Arch Motorcycles. That was Keanu Reeves. Reeve means portal. Reeving is a coiled wire. It's called reeving. Of course, Keanu Reeves has his Arch motorcycle, which looks like this Superman, who also was Christopher Reeves. Keanu Reeves, Christopher Reeves. Right? It's the serpent coming out of the chest.
Who am I? Casey, I am your memory. I am the memory of this city because up until now, this city has forgotten those I represent. The
memory, forgotten, these are all time travel references.
This city because up until now, this city has forgotten those I represent. The merry men can't feast till I deliver this meat to them. Not that they know.
So he's delivering the meat.
No, they're the merry men yet, but then you...
Now, who does RoboCop represent? Well, he's the deep state, right? They call him the Blue Knight. That would be like the deep state. So the Archer is pretending to fight the deep state. And he shoots his arrow and explodes in the chest of the RoboCop. Well, Apollo's arrow is what causes disease. Let's pull that up. Shown you guys this a couple times, but you need to see it again to understand fully what is going on here. So, it says here, he's the bringer of disease and death with his arrows. But he also can prevent the disease. And once he prevents it, he requires human sacrifice. Let's keep watching the trailer. So this is what we're going through right now. The Archer is Donald Trump.
Probably didn't know you were the Blue Knight. The poor, Casey. They are the forgotten people. The homeless, the hungry, the hated. I am a friend to the forgotten.
Drop that weapon.
Justice for the poor!
Leave it to the law to decide what is just. Now come with me, or...
The rule of law, right? Now, here's the crowd, and they are amassing at DC. Because this is called, here, you'll see it in a second here.
Is just. Now come with me, or...
And of course, they're defending him. This is exactly what happened, what we just went through.
However, not everyone likes the Archer. Here with me today is Walter Maddox, President and Chief Executive Officer of Consolidated Dynamics.
So Walter Maddox is the billionaire, but he plays the role of the Archer. That's exactly what happened, pretending to be for the people, but really just making a bunch of money off of the pain and division. Watch. Remember Face Off? Again, that's the Janice effect. There's a movie called Face Off where they trade faces, right? You guys seeing how all this fits in everything we've been talking about?
Maddox, President and Chief Executive Officer of Consolidated Dynamics.
Walter Maddox!
And
So he's the Archer.
he is definitely not a member of the Archer fan club.
I should say not. The man is deplorable. He's a madman.
They used the word deplorable, which of course the Clintons used, which caused so much division, because this is coming from both sides. I understand that both sides are working together. The reason why she said that was to alienate the right and to make them scratch their heads and go, wow, that's how the left sees us. We have to vote for Donald Trump. Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump are best friends. They're just pretending to hate each other because this is how they gain power over us. Hillary was meant to lose. That was the whole purpose of it.
Why? Those people worshipped you.
Those people worshipped you. That's the Q crowd.
They trusted you.
They trusted you. So they all turn against the cops. What happened? What did we just go through for the last year? Everybody turned against the cops, right? They got a brick. They're ready to bust them up.
Au revoir, my lady. Goodbye to you all.
Now here's the actual episode. It's the 8th episode of 1988. That's the time travel number from Back to the Future and Biff. Biff is the Archer. Look at the date. 1/19/1988. That's Blind 11 backwards. And what happened? 1/19 is the date before the inauguration. Delta City is DC, where all this happened.
I'm off until the next time, when the forgotten are remembered.
Remember, the 5th of November. He says when the forgotten are remembered. You see how this works? It's all tied in together.
We're gonna need more men. The Archer's got an army in there.
The Archer's got an army.
What are you talking about?
His forgotten people are now his soldiers.
His forgotten people are now his soldiers. Well, what happens when you make our country great again? You're remembering, are you not? You're remembering the forgotten.
People are going to get hurt. The Archer must be stopped.
I know it looks bad, but I still don't think you can blame the Archer for these people's behavior.
So she's in denial. She's the Q crowd in denial, right? You can't blame him. He's just trying. He's for the people.
The Archer for these
For the people. Like Bane said. Bane was wearing a mask.
people's behavior.
And you're going to see that on tomorrow's show, the FBI episode that we uncovered just moments before they start mentioning the New Dawn. They talk about the guy who is the Trump character. His name is Bane. Just like Bane in Batman, wearing the mask.
behavior. I don't believe it. He's not a fanatical leader. He's
Still in denial.
just a man trying to help people. He only wants to help them.
Just listen to him cough.
Here's your CV hint. This is all the way back in 88. Listen to him cough.
Little Johnny here has trouble breathing. All because of OCP's air-polluting factories.
This is terrible.
Now do you see the problems the Archer has created?
And then we all come to the realization of the problem the Archers created. And what's the solution? Internet censorship. Right? Has anyone intervened on our behalf against internet censorship? This is a bipartisan effort. Why do I say bipartisan? Because Trump is ineffective at doing anything about it. And he won't. And of course, Biden won't either. He's all for it.
I don't care about the poor, you fools. By tricking them into destroying OCP's holdings, I was crippling OCP.
So it'd sell out to me.
So he talks about crippling the economy through his lie, which is exactly what happened, so that they would sell out to him. Now, him represents corporate America. And that's why we all got forced to stay home. And that's why all the small businesses got closed, so that the corporate businesses could rise. This is the rise of corporate America. It was a play on the small businesses, and it worked. And Trump was part of it. He said he wanted everyone to open up the states, but really, what did he do to make that happen? Again, another slam dunk national security thing that he could have passed with the swipe of a pen. It's very easy to make the case for national security in instances like border control as well as the economy. If you see your economy sliding, you can make the states open. You can do that because it's national security. If you see the bedrock of America, which is small businesses, collapsing, you can order the states to let them do business. He didn't do that for us because Q kept running interference for him,
Thereby destroying my biggest rival.
But you were already rich. How much is enough?
There's never enough.
There's never enough. That's how these people think.
It was easy to make the dopes think I was their savior.
It was easy to make the dopes think I was a savior. Are you awake yet?
Greed? All this was because of greed?
And of course, the people are still, after they see his mask taken off, they're still telling them to let the Archer go. Now listen to Casey Wong's words here.
Greed?
It seems Walter was playing both sides of the fence. After the arrest of Walter Maddox, it was announced that Toyco, the company that held the licensing of all Archer merchandising, was in fact owned by Walter Maddox and his company.
So he was selling merch, of course, that's what Trump was doing. Now we're going to get into the segment about Tomorrowland. Now this is deep. Now, of course, A113 Productions. The story behind A113. Many of you have asked, what does this mean? And if you're new to the channel, you won't know because I took down all my A113 videos because YouTube was coming after them. But now we're going to speak in code about what A113 is. So A113 was an Easter egg put in a bunch of children's films. And many of these children's films were about missing and abducted children. Toy Story. We did a whole series of viral Toy Story videos, taking most of them down. and I'll speak in general terms here, but basically in every Toy Story film, there were toys that represented children that were abducted, traded, and trafficked. And if you're honest with yourself about the story plot lines of every one of the Toy Story films, you will come to the realization that that's exactly what they're talking about. Lost toys are lost children. How sick is that? Now, it goes way deeper than that. We found so much stuff, and I think I have those videos somewhere, but it's not safe to upload them here anymore. But this A113 Easter egg occurs in these films. Now, it goes deeper because A113 is symbolic of adrenochrome.
Are you all my personal dreams?
Why? Because the Epinephrine Act was signed into law on A113. Or signed by Obama. I think it was signed into law on October 31st, which is Halloween.
Everything you know is in your mind.
What is epinephrine? Well, this is straight from the package insert from the EpiPen. And it says here it turns pink from oxidation to adrenochrome. Now, this is synthetic adrenochrome, but there's something spiritual going on here. And this is the U.S. Senate they passed the Epinephrine Act on Halloween. Can't make this up. So this is the opening of Tomorrowland, the film. Now, there's something creepy about George Clooney. He likes to star in films with little girls. And in this film, he's in love with a little girl, but they're in different timelines. He's an android, and she stays a little girl, and he grows up into a man from a child, but is still in love with her. There's a new film that he's starred in, where he finds a little girl in the Arctic, and they're the last two people on Earth. This is really creepy stuff, you guys. And this is your new dawn right there. This is the dawn. This is what's happening right now. This is the Perisphere and Trilon. The Trilon is a hypodermic needle. It's a hollow needle. There's a real hypodermic needle, a vintage one that is called, the brand name is called the Trilon. This is from the 1939 World's Fair in Flushing Meadows, where Trump grew up. Where his family had a billboard with the Perisphere and Trilon that appeared at the 1939 World's Fair.
Are you all my personal dreams?
Oh, in some way, we not only went through the sound barrier, but...
Now, this is a 1960-something, what is it called? Twilight Zone episode called 33. It's like Flight 33. And they actually fly over the 1939 World's Fair. They go through a portal.
We've gone back in time.
We made it! Look, we're back! Skip it. Do you know what that is?
You see the spiral there? Spirals are portals. And in Men in Black, they talk about this being an alien landing site. All of the work that we've done is fitting together perfectly like a puzzle.
It's the New York World's Fair.
New York World's Fair? But that means we'd be back in 1939.
This is from Tomorrowland. Listen very closely.
Fair, but that means we'd be back in 1939.
Flushing Meadows, Corona Park, World's Fair. Don't forget your valuables and enjoy the future.
Yes, of course, it's called Corona Park, which is what we all just went through for the past year. The fake CV.
There's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow.
This will be our tomorrow, the utopia of complete and total digital domination over the people. And what ushered it in? The CV.
Shining at the end of every day. There's a great, big, beautiful.
Of course, this is Mr. T's replica that he made in front of Trump International at Columbus Circle in New York at the edge of Central Park. He wanted a replica made. This was 58 years after the World's Fair, 1939. Here on the left, it appears in Men in Black, and you'll see the significance of the number 58, not just the amount of years between Trump's replica and the World's Fair, but there's more to it because the number 58 appears in Tomorrowland over and over.
Beautiful tomorrow and tomorrow.
Now there was a 1964 World's Fair as well, and this is when this replica was made. So Trump's was a replica of a replica. This was called the Unisphere. The one in 1939 was called the Perisphere.
Just a dream away.
And Trump's was just called the Globe.
Why do you love the stars so much, Casey?
Because I want to go there.
So this is Casey all grown up, and this future Tomorrowland is all about Tesla. And of course, we know that John Trump took Tesla's papers. Trump brought us through the portal. He finally got it done. Total digital domination, because he did such a great and effective job at pretending to oppose the left that they were able to usher in complete censorship. He was the scapegoat, the fall guy, and gladly took one for the team, so that now people know that even censorship can go up to the highest levels of office, the presidency.
The French hated this thing when Eiffel first unveiled it at the Paris World's Fair. They thought it was an eyesore. Eiffel didn't care, though. It wasn't meant to be a monument. It was meant to find another world.
So there's basically saying that the Eiffel Tower is actually really an antenna, and I believe that it may be. I think that it draws energy from all of us and concentrates it, and these people go up late at night or whatever, and they suck up all of the world's energy.
The hover rail will be arriving in 1 minute.
Eiffel, Jules Verne, Tesla, and Mr. Edison. They designed this antenna that we're inside.
Wait, what?
This is just documentation that John Trump was the one that collected Tesla's papers.
Are you all my personal
dreams? The Eiffel Tower's an antenna.
Tesla designed the antenna to observe every kind of frequency out there. Subspace, transdimensional, you name it.
You smell like swamp.
You smell like swamp. This is a joke. They're laughing at us because Flushing Meadows was an ash heap swamp.
Subspace, transdimensional, you name it.
You smell like swamp.
You smell like swamp.
My phone got soaked in the lagoon.
And they found exactly what they were looking for. And then Edison tried to take credit for it because these two hate each other.
Extremely rare collectible pin commemorating the 1964 World's Fair.
Okay, give me their number.
They don't have a number.
They don't have a number?
They have an address.
Now, the movie centers around this pin that you see on your screen. And of course, this is the logo that Trump uses. It's a T. T for Trump. So this is the big joke. Yeah, it's Tomorrowland, but it's also T for Trump. I don't know how he did it, but he was able to bring us into this digital age of censorship through his actions.
Extremely rare collectible pin commemorating the 1964 World's Fair.
Okay, give me their number.
They don't have a number.
They don't have a number?
They have an address.
So the address is, the zip code is 77002. And of course, we know that the number 77 also applies directly to Donald Trump.
Why don't you just give me the Edison tube?
I'm not...
Are you all my person?
Now, we had just decoded the Planet of the Apes about a month ago. And we knew we were on to something. And, every time we go down one of these rabbit holes, take a deep breath and go, okay, let's wait and see how this fits in later. And look, that's exactly what's happened, because here they show her, this is called product placement. This was intentionally put here in this scene because it's all about the Planet of the Apes. And they shoot her in the pineal gland with the ray gun because this is all about reversal. Apollo's arrow. Remember all the Apollo's arrow work we did in Planet of the Apes, showing how the ship was Apollo's arrow? And that this was based on a Twilight Zone episode called Apollo's Arrow. The whole Planet of the Apes was based off of that. I think the Twilight Zone episode was called The Arrow from the Sky. And it is known that the whole Planet of the Apes franchise was based off of that original Twilight Zone episode. And then Charlton Heston lands in a giant arrow. And of course, Planet of the Apes is all about muzzling humans. They consistently muzzle them.
I'm afraid the world is ending. It is certain. It is unavoidable.
So, what is Casey's job? Well, she's found by the android from another timeline, from another world. She's found. The android tries to find her so that Casey can come back and save the world. How is she going to save the world? By destroying the Perisphere, which represents the lie of duality.
And it is coming.
It's not just showing people the end of the world, it's giving them the idea over and over and over again until they just accept it.
Bomb.
When?
This is 58 days from now.
Amplifying it, transmitting it, like a feedback loop.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy that's coming from right there. And we're the ones that lit the fuse.
We still have
So what they're talking about there is pre-programming. Hollywood pre-program. They're actually mocking all of us in this film. The Hollywood pre-programming is the signal. It's the self-fulfilling prophecy, because they're guiding humanity's behavior through film and television. That's the big white elephant in the room, that what you're watching for entertainment and talk shows and reality TV is actually dictating your mind. It's mind control. And so Casey understands this, and she wants to destroy the signal. What are we doing here? We're telling you guys what Hollywood is. It's pre-programming. It's the signal. It's the self-fulfilling prophecy. Well, here's where it gets crazy, because George Clooney then sacrifices this girl, the android girl, into the perisphere, into the globe. And that's what destroys the signal. Basically, the girl's not a real girl. Remember, she's the electronic, animatronic character. So, what are we doing here? We're telling you that transhumanism is where they're trying to take us. So we're trying to destroy that. Not technically, but symbolically. Don't allow yourself to be mixed with the animatronics. Don't mix your watery clay with the steel. So this is just crazy. Let's keep watching. He drops her into the perisphere, the globe. Watch this. Destroys the signal. And of course, this is a replica of what Trump has, which is a replica of the 1964 Unisphere, which is a replica of the 1939 World's Fair Perisphere and Trilon.
58 days? 58 days to try and change things, but nothing will work as long as that thing is still on.
So, as long as that thing is still on. So, let's put all this together. Because in Men in Black, they say that this site was the site of the aliens coming down in 1939, probably. And I think in Men in Black, they say 1964, but it was probably in 1939. And they're the ones that gave us the signal to control the world. They gave us technology of television to brainwash humanity, to create the self-fulfilling prophecy through entertainment. And this is why you have Twin Pines Mall, Lone Pines Mall from Back to the Future. And that this billboard, the home of tomorrow, appears in Back to the Future 1, 2, and 3. This is a real billboard you're looking at right here. We just went through a portal. This is why everything feels weird right now. Can this really be happening? Were so many people deceived and tricked? Yes, they were. This is the power of mind control. And if you're watching this program today, you're now beginning to snap out of it. And you'll be running to the arms of Jesus Christ, because you'll realize that you've been tricked. Mind control by the self-fulfilling signal, self-fulfilling prophecy, the signal. Here's the Tomorrowland, Perisphere, and Trilon. Just so you know, I'm not stretching this or making it up. It's a replica.
Shutting it down is impossible. There is no off.
I'm telling you what it's doing. We are looking for dreamers. Anyone who will feed the right wolf.
So, now you know the truth. Shutting it down is impossible. This is to make us lose hope. But can you imagine if 3 million people saw this video that we just did today and understood that the signal is what's causing all this, and understood that we can bring down the signal by talking about it and exposing it, and exposing all the pre-programming that's been going on since 1939, since television began. We can destroy the signal. Now, some of you that are new to the show are probably just beside yourself right now because you can't understand how all this fits together. It's definitely supernatural. But God wants you to know the truth. He wants you to snap out of the right-left paradigm. He wants you to humble yourself before Him and come to Him because of this information. Not me. I'm just a vessel. I'm just doing his work. But you need to wake up to what is happening, how you've been manipulated by both the right and the left. Don't let people write this off as he's a Trump hater, because I just told you how Biden's involved too. If you find yourself having negative feelings toward me because of the things I've said about Trump, then you're still living in the right-left paradigm. And if anything has proven to you that this was all a joke and a lie, understand that no indictments have been unsealed, no JFK reappeared, and you were played. So now it's time to wake up to the right-left paradigm and stop playing their game. Stop participating in their game and their emotions. All right, I love each and every one of you. I'm going to end the show there. We'll be back on air tomorrow. Get saved today if you haven't already. Much love.